for ease of access, we've got the machine tipped onto its back, not only so that we can film, but because then we're working down on it rather than across, which is always much easier. So we're going to replace the needle threader on this XV, same as the V3, the V5, the V7, and also the Stellaire. It's the higher end grey needle threader fitted to the high end Brothers. We've taken the presser foot holder off to give us more access, and also the needle out, just so that it's not in the way when we're trying to replace the needle threader. The hardest part of the needle threader is a little circlip which sits on the end of this shaft. It's really quite fiddly and sometimes very stubborn, but it can be pushed off. So we spin the circlip round, and we use long nose pliers just to push the circlip off the shaft. Now that's probably the most difficult part. If we can get that circlip off, the rest of it is pretty straightforward. They normally disappear when you push them off because they're spring loaded. They ping into the distance, but they're not necessarily required to be put back on. So we generally don't put them back on. There is a clip that holds the needle threader on, so they're not really required for day-to-day use. So once the circlip's off, the next bit to contend with is the little return spring, which is there. So this returns the metal casing back to the park position. So we're going to get some tweezers and we pull that forwards. Can't see around the corner, and lift it up. And now this piece is loose, so it's not spring loaded. And then we take a flat headed screwdriver, small one, go in at the top, and as we twist the screwdriver, the needle threader, the grey bit, becomes unclipped and will, with a wiggle, come off the machine. Don't want to drop it if we can help it. So needle thread is made up of 4 parts which go together like a little puzzle, and the casing, the metal part, and the needle threader have got this hole with a cross where it clips onto the shaft there. What you can see more clearly now is the return spring, which is here, which causes a bit of a problem when we put the needle threader back on. So we've got our needle threader together, and that just slips on once it's all lined up. They are horrible fiddly things. So we're going to slip that on, and when we've slipped it on, we're going to take a piece of thread with a loop. We're going to pop it through and hook it onto the spring, which we can then pull round, and then with a wiggle we can pop the needle threader up into position, and you hear the click. That click is the bit that will hold it on without the circlip. Then pull the spring round, make sure it's located on the metal bit, and you can see that because it's pushing the metal bit back, and then we can release that just by pulling one of the threads out. So that's the needle threader on, and the only thing we need to check is the little bobble at the back, and the bobble sits in the groove, and that gives you the twisting action of the needle threader. But fundamentally that is now fitted one new needle threader.